Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today. 208, excerpts 549 and pages 550 out of 852 pages from the novel named after my ministry, TheSovereignLight. And this is a course in metaphysical spirituality. How do you do? My name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis here in this lovely morning, the 21st of July, 2021. And such a beautiful mural behind me in the background, if you can see it, with the sun facing and in the east, early morning, roughly 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And won't you join me here today? Take a few deep breaths in to acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. And depending on your perspective and how you feel within every moment, wherever you might be, you can choose to be in heaven or in hell or in both. And the choice is up to you, my friends. And when we hold this light, we bring in heaven, heaven on earth. And take some time, this moment, to be present 100% here, enjoying the sunshine, the regular five-sense reality interpretation can only exist to be when the free will to choose and compare subjectively from an observation through contraction. This, be it forward or backward, every moment is co-creating every other moment, and within the exploration to expand with this experience, to take in by reversing the contraction and expansion from inwardly to outwardly, is how intention and focus can imprint upon maintaining it in consciousness. If only but a moment to be restored, and just a little while longer, then refreshing into its expanded form again. Today's affirmation is built upon this concept to acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. And so be it that I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. You can say this with me. Come on now. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. Let me hear you say this. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. Meaning is subjective and requires choice that only consciousness can give it to exist. Your spirit, this awareness, is in fact your consciousness. To have perception of something and in relative to something else is exactly what the wiping clean and clearing had its very purpose in the first few lessons of this novel. And within this segment, video 181 out of 319, to wipe out information and replace it with the greater good collective symbolism that was the common strength, and for a certain period throughout existence, a certain type of code of ethics that conveyed a language and gave meaning to its very grouping of infinite intelligence, and to reprogram with. From the old perspective, does this hold truth in writing and within this novel to dawn from and reform anew, transcending beyond the balance to forgive for its duality and that of many in opposition. On this plateau, infinite intelligence, source energy, God, does not attract for any lessons, and of its own volition, no longer to be made as with overcompensating applicable, and that of the binding limitations to abide with. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. Instead of just forgiving and to see the blinded of the world differently, learn to let go of the incomprehensive many and stop that effort that it takes to resonate with it. These are the ghosts from the past that serve it not, and they in turn are not draining the self of its energy. Rather, the self's effort to please and feed the resistance to accepting the authentic self is. Just like there is no exact value to the speed of light, there is no set theory to what everything must be like. This thought that then becomes an opinion that everybody agrees upon to become fact, and based upon the moment to mark as time, an incremental moment that we say from one point to the other, and we give it a digit, a numerical number. to believe that it is fact, something traveling through space and time, that we can give this speed of light some meaning through our own filters of the ego mind to compare with. So there is no exact value to the speed of light other than there is no set theory to what everything must be like. The self can, in its energy to hold this potential and geometric pattern of its being, to project outward its symbolic information and to ignite, rather inspire into motion the many other particles to change its position with. So when we look upon something, we change it in the way we see it from another and the way they see it. And today, make use of this new perspective and give it some consideration of how it is to walk a mile in another person's shoes even. This is the way of seeing how another might be seeing as well, and how you would be seeing. And today, make use of this new perspective and give it some consideration. Refresh from previous residue and that might have locked the self for motion. Review all these different perceptions and how they make you feel, how they make us feel. For example, how many red lights, stop signs, and slowdowns can a vehicle accept before running itself down with the idea for the day use a pace mechanism, and that the heart was similar to function with, rather than what the ego mind might think, and then that of its containment within that the mind brings. Continue on, and it might be helpful to repeat this backup statement with no restriction or reservation. I love myself. Let me hear you say it and feel it. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Open up to this idea and feel how you might be restricting or reserving that love for yourself. With no restriction or reservation, I love myself. And then go and repeat or say or write down or just remember. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. With no restriction or reservation, I love myself. And so the purpose for today is always from within the heart. And just breathe that in. where you are breathing from. This space that leads further in and up. Follow the stairway up, and where the purest information can be found from that, within the heart's depth, right to your spine. And up, and clear as crystalline. It is the mind that bends it into solid, from liquid and then into fluid, ethereal, clear substance. From these patterns that imprint the self and is made up, allow for this limitless intelligence to express through it, and in this way of inner guidance, with its touch upon the self, with no restriction or reservation. I love myself. And thank you for joining me here. And we can find ourselves again throughout the day to recalibrate and take a moment to acknowledge your breathing and become alert, and say these words once more. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. Say it until it finds meaning. Let it sink in and open up to this perspective. Give yourself permission and approve for these words that you may say out loud. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. I acknowledge that every moment holds value and is a gift of divine experience. And let your feelings be the fuel behind these words, with no restriction or reservation. I love myself. And until next time, may you find this love, this potential of limitless possibilities to enhance your life.